mic up. This is legacy emotion. For vision of victory, trailblazing the path. Mind sharp, words heavy, every bar got class. Iconic by nature, pioneer by design. History in the making every time she aligns. Doctorate dreams, but the roots run deep. Built from the grind, now the whole world speaks. Culture, purpose, power when she steps in the room. Drop gems so real, make the future zoom. Yeah.
This is iconic pioneers. Hear the story unfold, where the fearless lead and the truth gets told. Every voice legendary, every lesson precise. House filled with wisdom, Dr. Tabitha Russell on the mic. Press play. Stay ready. The movement starts now.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Iconic Pioneers Podcast, the space where disruptors, trailblazers, and bold thinkers gather to rewrite the rules of success. I'm your host, Dr. Tabitha Russell, and on this show, we go deep with those who aren't afraid to lead differently, those who are building legacy, impact, and authority that echoes for generations. Can I just say that I am super excited to be here on today with the amazing Mr. Josh Johnson. Can I just say, Josh, I'm so happy for you to be here on today.
Well, thank you for having me on this little shoot with you, Tabitha. You know, we met down at the Rise Tour in Atlanta the first time and then just reconnected again in Raleigh. And I've been looking forward to it. So I'm excited to see what we get to talk about today.
Oh, yes, absolutely, Josh. I am just really excited about what you do in the space of real estate. That is definitely a passion of mine. And I just want you to share with everybody where it is that you're joining me from and share a little bit about your firm.
All right. This morning, I am joining you from Davidson, North Carolina, which is just north of Charlotte. And we are doing great here in my market. I do have an office here in Davidson, and I have one in the North Carolina High Country as well, the mountain region, in West Jefferson, close to Boone, Blowing Rock, Banner Elk. We also service that area. But good news for Charlotte, we drafted Christian Anderson last night to the Hornets.
Come on now, come on.
Christian, I watched Christian play high school ball up at Oak Hill Academy, and I was glad to see him get picked by the Hornets, so we get to watch him here at home. So, you know, I'm a sports guy. You know, I feel like sports bring people together. A lot of my connections are in the sports world. Real estate for me and my company, which is Regency on the Lake, I mean, that has been built solely on relationships. You know, I've said, you've probably heard me say this, my priorities are God first, family second, work third. Without God, everything I've done definitely would not be possible. And from there, I've kind of built on relationships, been at this for 21 years. My team and I combined, Lord, we probably got over 100 years in the real estate business. So, I mean, it's been good to me. But again, the business I'm in is the people business. It's not transactional whatsoever at all. It's very relational and treating everybody like they're somebody and treating them like you like to be treated yourself.
That's right. I think that is beautiful, Josh. And knowing that real estate is relational is a huge clue as to how the business works, right? Like a lot of people do business on transactions. However, with real estate, those repeat clients, or you get to sell those homeowners additional houses over the years, because they say, you know, an average homeowner stays in the house about 5 years or so, and then they're ready to move on and do something different. So I definitely love that. But tell me this, what does it mean to be an iconic leader to you personally?
Intimidating. Intimidating, and I know with that comes a whole lot of responsibility. So I mean, you know, when you're a leader, you know, a lot of people wake up, or, you know, I've got a 19-year-old and a 15-year-old, right? And they're in that phase where they're realizing they're becoming men, right? And they look at a lot of things that I do and they want it. And I'm like, hey guys, you better be careful what you ask for, because there's a whole lot of responsibility that comes with all of this. And, you know, so it is a little intimidating, but at times, you know, I end up in places that I never think or thought I would be. But, you know, I go through every door that I feel like God opens for me. And in my 21 years of doing this, I feel like that's one way I have grown tremendously. You know, when I first got in, it was every opportunity, you know, you walk through the door. And I think I've learned every opportunity is not necessarily a God opportunity.
Right.
So, you know, I've learned to be a little bit more selective, to align myself a little bit better with folks that I feel are kind of on the same path as I am.
Oh, I love that. I love that. And seemingly, since I met you, it seems like we've definitely had a kindred spirit. I absolutely love what it is that you do. And I just love your, you know, personality and your attitude towards what it is that you do, because I can hear the passion in it, that you really absolutely love the space of real estate. You definitely love the Lord with all your heart. And of course, you love your family. So tell me about a defining moment when you realized that you weren't built to follow the crowd. Because first of all, real estate is not for the faint of heart, right? 21 years, you've seen the ebbs and the flows around the business. So what was that defining moment for you?
Well, let's get real. Let's go deep this morning. If we're going to do this, let's do it. So, you know, you're kind of familiar with real estate in the industry. And when I got in, I was really young. I was 25, bought a real estate company, did not even have my broker's license. And, you know, jumped in, got my broker's license really quick, became broker in charge really quick. That's when before the laws changed in North Carolina. And, all right, in the real estate industry, everywhere you go includes alcohol, correct?
Yes.
I mean, whether you're meeting a client for breakfast, it's mimosas in the morning. It's right. You know, we're drinking at lunch. We're drinking in the evening, right?
Right.
I had never really drank at all prior to myself getting in real estate, and it was such a social, like, acceptable thing to do. You know, I did that, and I was young, and I'll be honest, I am a little bit of an introvert. And, you know, at the beginning, the alcohol definitely served a purpose, right? The further I went in my career, you know, I became aware that it was a problem. And the alcohol also, the Lord was always there with me, right? But the alcohol gave Josh confidence in himself rather than in the Lord. So, and you know, a lot of this is learning, and you know, a lot of people don't like talking about real things, right?
That's right.
But the ride is not always easy.
That's right.
And you have to go through some hard things to get where you are supposed to be sometimes. I tell my kids all the time, there's an easy way and there's a hard way.
That's
Unfortunately, I kind of took the hard path here, and not intentionally, if that makes sense. I just did it because it was like socially acceptable at the beginning. Everywhere I went, everybody was doing it. And unfortunately for me, it became a problem.
Gotcha.
So, and it did kind of it didn't remove me from the Lord, but it hardened my heart. Like I said, it made me have more confidence in myself than I needed, versus realizing everything that was happening was because of him.
Right.
So, you know, and I wish I could say that was like a quick process, but this is something about alcohol that I've learned too. I mean, if you have a problem like I had, sometimes it's not always quick and simple and, you know, as fast as you want it to be. But and needless to say, I'm on the other side of that. And but that whole period of dealing with that is when I kind of came to grips. And with that, people say, well, how do you do it? Or how did you do it? And it was honesty, openness, and willingness to change. And I told my wife, I said, now listen, I'm going to change. Because she was kind of like that little, what's the word, the correct term? You're a doctor, you'll know this. But like, she created the turning point. What the specific word? She was the catalyst.
Yeah, the catalyst.
She was the catalyst because she's like, Josh, the rest of the world is getting the best of you. And when you come home, you're not present and we're getting the worst of you.
Wow.
And I said, wow. I was like, I didn't think I was. And my justification for drinking always, I'm not hurting anybody other than Josh. And I thought, I'm still doing. Clients that I still are clients of mine today. I tell them I quit drinking and they're like, man, we never even knew you really drank that much. I'm like, oh yeah, I drank more than you want to know about.
Right.
And it became an addiction. Let's be real. It was physical addiction and it was an issue. So during that whole process though, and I went to my wife and I said, hey, I'm going to do this no matter what it takes. I was like, but when I do this hard Josh that the world has kind of created, because real estate is a tough industry.
It is.
I'll be honest, it's dog eat dog if you get in that world pattern. Right?
That's right.
And I had got into that and I said, now listen, if I go back to old Josh, I'm like, if the Lord tells us to go to Zimbabwe, we're going. If the Lord tells us to go to Venezuela, we're going. If he says you're going to Argentina, we're going. Canada, wherever. And I was like, as long as you're along for the ride, I can change. I feel like I can change and I can do this. Yeah. And she's like, honey, I'm in with you. So let's do this thing. Yeah. And honestly, that's kind of how we ended up in Davidson, opening up this second office. Wow. Because we moved to Davidson in October of 2024, right after Hurricane Helene hit Western North Carolina. Gotcha. And I knew that Western North Carolina and the market up there was going to be slow, for a considerable amount of time during that recovery effort. And a lot of our clients that buy in Western North Carolina, they're from this Charlotte market, Lake Norman area, and they're buying second, third, fourth vacation homes, and they had begged me to open an office down here for years. And, all this transition and the storm, it was kind of like, people say all the time, the Lord's in the storm. Well, the Lord was in Hurricane Helene for the Johnson family and Regency on the Lake and everything that's happening and happened since. Wow. So, that is kind of deep and, there's a whole lot more, but that's a nutshell.
Well, first of all, thank you for your transparency around that, because a lot of times people can see the writing on the wall and not always say, oh, okay, that's for me over there. Like that's my warning, or that's the thing that I need to work towards. But look at you now. It has so much, it has benefited you so much. So it is pretty awesome. So how do you balance though wealth, influence, and impact without sacrificing your authenticity?
The authenticity comes natural for me. What I have to do as far as balance, as I mentioned, I was kind of introverted, especially as a child, and anxiety is a real thing. I was the kid in elementary school, like I could not eat in the cafeteria because it was too loud. I was the kid that was like covering his ears and crying just because, and I still have that to an extent. Like I do not like to eat in large groups. I don't know why. I can't explain it, but balancing things for me has been realizing who Josh is and not placing Josh in situations that create or make him uncomfortable. Right. Now, that's this is where the balance comes in, right? Because the Lord sometimes says, hey, you go do this. And you do, and he's got you. But before I would go, like I said, to everything. And a lot of those everythings were not his thing. So it's just kind of the balancing act has been becoming more self-aware, more in tune with his plan versus my plan, and, you know, letting him lead 110% instead of, you know, Josh taking the reins and, you know, running wild.
Yeah. I think that's
burnout is real. I mean,
right.
it is real, and that's kind of where I got with my whole thing. And real estate had became transactional rather than relational, and the alcohol I think contributed to that as well, because I did not really. It became more about making money than it did about serving people. And, you know, who I am at a core is to serve the people I'm working with and to serve the communities that I'm a part of and help them in any way possible. So, I mean, just keeping my priorities straight is, like I said, God first, family second, work third.
Come on now. That is awesome. Keeping those priorities straight is huge, especially in this day and time. So we lived in the Charlotte market for about 20 years or so over there in Harrisburg and absolutely loved it. But when we got the opportunity to move away and now in South Carolina, it has been, you know, a world of difference. It's like we still come back to visit, but we don't miss the traffic, right?
Yeah.
Getting around and going places and stuff. So, but we still have family that live there. So we're in the area quite often. So what's a myth, though, about leadership or success that you believe needs to be dismantled immediately?
I think a lot of people think that leadership is easy and success is easy. And I mean, I just gave you one little snapshot of my personal life, how it's been a process. And I mean, you know, that was a snapshot, but that was years. I mean, I'm going to say that's something that started once I got in real estate. And honestly, like, it didn't come to a turning point until, you know, really about 2.5 years ago. So, I mean, and now, did I know it was an issue before then? Yes. Did I have all the answers and the help to, like, and this is one of the issues, right? To address that? I did not. So, I mean, it was a process to get to that point. And, you know, for me, leadership is, you know, I say this all the time. You've got to surround yourself with winners and true leaders. If you don't, I mean, the people that are part of your circle, they will either build you up or bring you down.
That's right.
And I have always, even in my struggles, I mean, I would be with winners every day. I mean, if I'm losing, I call 4 of them and I'm like, guys, get me on the path here. Tell me what I'm doing wrong. And being a true leader is being open-minded, willing to listen, take correction, and change. And, you know, a lot of people like to listen a little bit. A lot of people like zero correction. And change is the hard one for me. I could do a lot of the previous things, but then I would want to say, that don't sound right to me. I don't think I'm going to do that. So, I mean, that's that hard-headedness in me that I guess I get from the Southern Appalachian Mountains, you know, in my roots. So right. I had to kind of like realize, you know, hey man, your way isn't always the right way. And, you know, it's a constant. Every day I wake up now and I'm like, what you got for me? You know, and I'm asking the Lord that, you know, right. What am I going to learn today? Who am I going to meet? What door is going to open? And, you know, it doesn't happen overnight. You know, true wealth to me is built over generations, really. That's and, right. You know, it's kind of, and wealth is not just money. I mean, for me, the way I gauge my wealth is peace first and foremost. PEACE. When I have peace and my home is at peace, I feel very wealthy. Second way I gauge wealth is my health and my family's health. Because without, if you get burnt out, like I said, if you're tired mentally, physically, emotionally, you cannot be who you are supposed to be. So, I mean, those things to me are way more important than any dollar or any, the zeros in my account are the least important. Let's put it that way.
I love it. I love it. Well, I will say I too believe, just like you, that having a happy home is super important, having great health. And those are things that sometimes money cannot buy, right? Like money cannot buy you true happiness. It buy you a little bit, right? But that's only temporary. Mm-hmm. And so having that consistent way of building those relationships, that starts at home. You talked about being somewhat of an introvert. I tell people that I am an introvert with extrovertive tendencies, right? Mm-hmm. So I know how to jump out there and be okay, and then get back in my space, and I'm just as happy as a lark, right? So mm-hmm. I know for you, though, that your success have left a lot of clues over the years. 21 years later, you're still at it, and you're still as happy and as passionate about it. But what are some of the daily habits or rituals that keep you operating at an iconic level?
Well, I named the one. What do you have for me today, Lord? Mm-hmm. That's a daily thing. And, I treat everyone, whether it be at a gas station or a grocery store or a fast food line, when I'm in between, meetings, I talk to everybody just like they're, the president of the United States. Mm-hmm. Because you never know the person that God will put in your life. I mean, I'll give an example here. I mean, I was at Club Champion, which is a golf store. Mm-hmm. For those folks that don't know, I mean, you go there and get golf clubs. I'm a big golfer, love to golf. It's been a huge part of my real estate business, golf with a lot of clients and a lot of guys that have introduced me to a lot of folks. But at Club Champion, getting fitted for a new driver, meet a guy there. We hit it off, connected. He said, "Hey, let's go to lunch." So we went to lunch, and next thing you know, he's introducing me to another guy who happens to be James Anderson, who's a 10-year NFL retired veteran, mm-hmm. played 6 years with the Panthers. And James and I hit it off. I tell him all the time, I'm like, man, we're brothers. I mean, mm-hmm. our first connection was the Lord, and just our heart and spirit. I mean, we both love to win, mm-hmm. but like at the end of the day, it's God first and everything, family second. And then for him, it's football. For me, it's work. Which he's retired now. But, I tell him, I'm like, we are brothers. We're connected for life. But James has introduced me to, Mike Tolbert, Steve Smith Sr., Trey Boston. I'm trying to think who else. I mean, all these guys that have played with the Panthers that I would have never met if it wouldn't have been for me doing what was good for Josh, because golf for Josh is a decompress.
I love it. Mm-hmm.
So I met him, through a connection I made at Club Champion. And from there, it's like, the doors to a whole lot more have opened. I mean, mm-hmm. Thomas Davis is another guy that he introduced me to, and Thomas looking at multifamily stuff. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, it's just kind of, and that, again, that's one little example. I mean, mm-hmm. that seems to happen for me on a daily basis somehow. And you just never know when and who that next person is that's going to open a door for you. Yeah. So, and it happens organically. It's not like and I tell people this all the time, when you go to a listing presentation or you meet with a buyer, I am so not your typical real estate broker. Mm. If you want, and I call it the smoke show. If you want a smoke show, the fancy listing presentation, the right in the driveway, I'm not your guy. Tabitha, you've had the privilege of seeing me in a suit 2 times.
Yes.
I don't wear a suit. The only time I ever wear a suit is a wedding or a funeral, typically. So, and I definitely don't wear high heels. So, I mean, you know, I have no smoke show. I show up, I'm very real. I'm like, guys, we can get on the internet right here. You can get the same information about the value of your home today that I can, you know, act like I spend a lot of time doing.
Right.
You know, but we can have it in 30 seconds. Let's pop up Google and hit Zillow, Redfin, Homes.com. I mean, we're going to have a CMA if you want to see one, right?
Right.
But at the end of the day, you've got to like me. I've got to like you. We've got to respect each other. And I tell people all the time, I'm like, what you are getting with me that I feel sets me apart is basically my network and the way that I, you know, have worked my business for 21 years. I mean, if I don't know a buyer right off, I guarantee I know a guy that knows a guy that is a buyer, you know, or a lady. I mean, it's, you know, and it, you know, and again, it goes back to how I would like to be treated. And that's how I treat everyone else.
Yes.
And, you know, the paperwork, the inspections, all the nuts and bolts of what make it work. Obviously, I handle that. But, you know, the difference is I think I'm way more personal than most brokers. And I mean, I've had brokers or clients that started with me as a client, ended up lifelong friends. I'll give one example. This guy called me about 2 months before Christmas one year, and he said, "Hey, Josh, I'm going to send your kids a Christmas present, but I needed to ask if it was okay." I was like, "You don't have to ask me that. You can send them a Christmas present." He said, "Oh, no, we need to have a conversation about this." And I said, "All right, what you got?" He said, "I'm going to send a couple horses to your kids." I was like, "Now, what are you talking about?" But he's like, "I've got a couple horses and you've got a farm." This is when we were in Western North Carolina. And he said, "You got a couple little cowboys and I think they do good with these horses, but you know, it's responsibility for you." And I said, "All right, go ahead and send it to them." So needless to say, one of the horses made it, one got sold. And then eventually the second one got sold because horses are expensive.
Right.
Yeah. But needless to say, that gentleman and his wife passed away. His children, who also became friends, one in Florida, one in California, as soon as all that transition happened, they called me. They were like, "Josh, you know, we met you. We like you. Mom and Dad thought the world of you. What can we do with the house?" Obviously, I helped them. I mean, clients may start as a client with me, but they end up, I mean, I'm still in contact with those folks and they're not, I mean, I have no motivation to be other than we're just friends, right? I mean, you know, and have connected and our lives have been brought together through real estate initially, but I mean, it went a lot deeper than that.
That's right.
So, I mean, you know, and those are the type of things that, you know, always lead to more for me. And again, you know, it's like I say, hey, that's what you get with me. You get a real guy, got real problems, got real work, got a real family. I mean, my wife and I argue. Tell me they don't like me. You know, it's like, if you want the real deal, that's who you get.
That's right.
No
I love that. No, I love it. Because at the end of the day, I'm like, it's so much easier for me to be who I am than for me to put the face on, right? The smoke show. Yeah, you can get that. But at the end of the day, when I'm being who I am naturally, I don't have to put on. I don't have to feel like I have to do all of that extra stuff because it doesn't make a difference, right? Like when we were in Charlotte, for example, you talked about your golfing. Well, for my husband, for example, it was bowling. He bowled in Ron Rivera's bowling league and the Thomas Davis. He was, you know, they would be teammates and different things like that. So relationships, I believe, is everything, right? And you talked about the circle of friends that you have around you. I've always been told that you are the sum of your 5 closest friends that you have around you. And for you, having those relationships has been everything over the course of time. Just like you helped that one family. Well, it definitely goes deeper, right? That to me is legacy, and legacy is more than wealth. So what legacy are you intentionally creating for generations to come? Because you talked about your young men that are coming up. They see you in the business. They see these, connections being made. What are you doing intentionally to set that up for them?
I mean, a lot of that again is natural for me, and my kids are just now getting to the point to where I'm starting to see them emulate some things they've watched, for years. And one thing I've always done, and this gives me kind of the goosebumps, Holy Ghost chills, but like anytime, I mean, if I'm out and about, I mean, if we're at a grocery store and Lord says, hey, buy that person's groceries, I always ask, which my wife says is so weird. And I'm like, I just feel like that's a respect thing. So I'll be like, hey, is it all right if I buy your groceries? And if they say, yeah, and a lot of times they just start crying, and they're like, oh, Lord, yeah, you can buy my groceries. But and it gets all emotional, right?
Yeah.
But, I mean, little things like that I've kind of done my whole life. In the communities I'm a part of, as I mentioned, I love giving back to anything that I feel like unites the community, right? I think that especially in this day and age, our country is so divided. And I despise it. I mean, because we are all very fortunate to live in the best country in the world. And I can say that with confidence because I've been in 30 plus countries. And it really frustrates me when I hear folks say, oh, I'm going to leave America. I'm moving away because I don't like this. I'm like, listen, folks, you can say that you're going to move away, but if you're going to a vacation spot somewhere outside of the country, yeah, it might be better, but I'm not sure you're going to have enough money to stay there and live there.
Right.
If you go to like a real place overseas, I mean, it's so different than we have so many luxuries in America that we take for granted every day.
Right.
And I mean, we have running water 24/7. We have power 24/7. I mean, we have vehicles to transport us 24/7. We have public transportation to move us if we don't have a vehicle 24/7.
Right.
I mean, we've got roads that are maintained. The worst roads you drive on, I don't know which is worse, South Carolina or North Carolina. They say South Carolina roads are worse. But, I don't care how bad the road is. It's better than most roads overseas, right?
That's right. That's right.
I mean, we have food out the wazoo. I mean, that's evident in most of us, even myself, because I'm a little overweight. But, I mean, I'm like, let's unite. Let's find the things that bring us together. And, whether it be a nonprofit that's helping children in the community, whether it be like Davidson College. I'm a huge supporter of the athletics at Davidson College just because it brings the entire community together.
That's
and
right.
I love sports because that's what sports, in my opinion, do better than anything. I mean, you never go to a ball game and say, hey, you Republican or Democrat?
Right.
It's like, you black or white? You never hear that, right?
Right.
I mean, everybody's there to pull for their team and have fun. I mean, now I'm not saying you don't have those moments when fans get out of line, but, and for the most part, I feel like sports and anything community oriented. I mean, I sponsor concerts, in all of our towns that we're part of, and people come to music. I mean, music and the arts are doing great for that too.
That's right.
So all those things for my children, they've watched. And, and my 19-year-old the other day, he and my son ran to the grocery store and they didn't buy anybody's groceries, but they were coming out and there was a guy there that, was kind of down on his luck, and he was making walking sticks and selling them to, make money. My 19-year-old bought a walking stick, and, and he came home. He's like, Daddy, I bought this walking stick. I said, what do you need a walking stick for? He said, I didn't need a walking stick. The guy needed money.
Yeah.
And, that's kind of how I'm building it within my own house. I think children learn more by watching than listening.
They do.
I can't I can tell them something 100 times and they ain't never going to get it. They can watch me do it one time and they're like, that's cool. And it like sinks in. Now, I'm not a psychologist. I'm not a doctor. I don't know why that is the way it is, but that's how it works in my house.
Yeah.
So, and the tone of voice you use with people, just the way you treat folks, like I say, I mean, your children definitely emulate that. As far as my company as a whole, I mean, as you can tell, and as you said, I'm passionate. I mean, I'm a winner. I mean, if I'm in the game, we're gonna win. I'm not going in this to lose.
That's it.
You're gonna beat me at everything. You're not gonna beat my work ethic. I mean,
Come on.
my team sees me. I mean, I'm humping, right? So I mean, we're going, and
That's right.
There's only one speed when it comes to getting stuff done for me, and that's go. So I'm the guy that shows up, and I'm like, let's go. No excuses. We're making it happen.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Having that solid work ethic and, really allowing your family to emulate a lot of the things that you do is so great. I tell our sons all the time, because we have 4 sons and a daughter. And we quite often like to say is that life has a way of being its own best teacher. You just have to learn from the lessons as you're going along the way. And so I love the pay it forward, how you just walk in and be like, hey, is it okay to pay for your groceries? Or, even your son buying the walking stick. He didn't need one, but he saw a need and he was able to meet that person right where they are. So I absolutely love that. So Josh, this has been absolutely amazing on today. For those who feel called to lead but question their power, what's your final message to them?
Well, there's a scripture that comes to mind, automatically, and it's, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And, if God calls you to do something, you can do it. There's absolutely no reason. I mean, I'm a country boy from the mountains of North Carolina. I mean, I grew up, in a small town. There was 50 kids in my graduating class. I was not the valedictorian. I like I said, I was a quiet guy, very introverted, traveled the world, traveled a lot of the country, been in rooms. I mean, the wildest experience I think I've ever had, I was sitting in San Francisco this February, earlier this year, sitting in a room with folks and 3 or 4 other guys, and Michael Strahan and Spike Lee walk in the door, sit down with us and chat it up. And I'm like, what in the world? I mean, I don't get starstruck much, but I mean, Michael Strahan, Spike Lee, I'm kind of like, first of all, Michael's smile is priceless.
That's right. That's right.
Spike Lee's just a character. I mean, and he looked just like he looked on TV that day in real life. I'm like, dude, this is you like day in, day out.
Yeah.
But I mean, you just never, I mean, who would have thought Josh Johnson, kid from the mountains of North Carolina, and I shared this in Atlanta, one black family in my county. And I mean, my African-American circles are as large as my white circles, Asian circles now. And it's, James is so funny. He's like, dude, you the blackest white guy I know. And I'm like, I don't know how to take that, but I'll take it. I'm like, if that means we're brothers, we're brothers.
That's right.
But he's like, because I'll ask him, I'm like, what kind of room are we going into? Am I going to be the only white guy there? He's like, you probably won't be the only white guy there, but you'll be the best looking and the coolest white guy there. So, I mean, but God can use, and there's another scripture that comes to mind. He uses the small things, and to profound the wise. And honestly, I feel one of my middle names is Paul, and Paul means small. really go into that. And I mean, I think it's just, I kind of living testimony,
I love it. I love it. I love your approach to most everything, right? You don't see color, you don't see obstacles. You just basically see people for who they are. And that's what I absolutely love and respect about you, is that you go in and you just love on everybody and you be yourself. And I think that is just really so awesome. So it has definitely been a pleasure to interview you, to talk about the business of real estate, as well as what you're setting up for your family, because I can definitely tell that you have a big heart and you're passionate about family, community, the Lord, definitely. So how is it that the audience can connect with you? Because I know that there's a lot of people that's looking for homes in the Charlotte market, as well as they're ready to, go and do some amazing things in the field of real estate. How can they connect with you?
The easiest way, if you want to hit me on Instagram, obviously it seems like a lot of people do that, and LinkedIn nowadays. My Instagram is OG Josh Johnson. Obviously on LinkedIn, I'm Josh Johnson. And if you're old school and you still like to call people like me, you can get me on my phone number, 828-406-4495. And my company's website is onthelake.nc.com, and that's onthelake.nc.com. And if you hit me up, I mean, there's nobody that I will not call back. Now, am I going to say it's a fit? It's not always a fit. I think I already kind of made that clear. But I mean, I feel like you can figure that out pretty quickly. But and Tabitha, about you, one thing I just want to say that I've loved about you from the first time I met you. And like, I felt this like that first time, like you have this, what I call mama's heart. and I love that about you. Like, I feel like, you have this comfort that you bring to folks. And I mean, and it's kind of like some of the stuff is for me. I feel like it's innate. It's not even like something you try to do.
That's
but
right.
Like, I just want to, like, every time I see you, and I know it's not appropriate, but I just want to come hug you and be like, give me some love, mama. you know what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
It's like you feel without you. I think you and I both have that, very empathetic. And you know where people are and what they're dealing with. And, and you're obviously a very successful person and a leader, and I respect you and look forward to continuing to get to know you and grow our relationship.
That's right. Thank you so much, Josh. This has definitely been amazing. I look forward to us connecting, because I definitely love the space of real estate. For me here in South Carolina, I've been doing it now for about 2 years or so. So I'm still a little green around it, but I'm definitely hanging in there and making it work. So thank you so much for being here, and we'll have to have you back to see how things are going again, because this has definitely been wonderful. And here's some more of those great, amazing stories. So thank you so much for being here on today.
Yes, ma'am. And thank you for having me.
Thank you.
This is iconic pioneers. Hear the story unfold, where the fearless lead and the truth gets told. Every voice legendary, every lesson precise. Housed with wisdom, Dr. Tabitha Russell on the mic. Press play. Stay ready. The movement starts now.